You ever have one of those mornings where you're just trying to make it through another pointless work call, when suddenly life slaps you upside the head and hands you a story you couldn't make up if you tried? Yeah, that was me, sitting in my home office, half listening to my regional director drone on about quarterly reports, when there was boom, boom, boom. Somebody pounding on my front door like the house was on fire. My dog lost his mind, barking from the next room, and I just kind of sighed, muted my mic, and mumbled an apology like, "Sorry, folks, gotta see who's trying to break down my door in the middle of a Tuesday." I opened the door, and there she is, Patricia. Bright pink visor, clipboard clamped in both hands like she's got arrest warrants inside. Posture so stiff, it's a miracle she doesn't snap in half. She locks eyes with me, and I swear, you could almost smell the authority coming off her, like stale perfume mixed with entitlement. "Mr. Lewis," she says, dragging my name out like she's reading it off a most wanted list. "I'm Patricia from the HOA. We've had complaints about your activities during work hours." Activities? For a split second, I honestly thought she was talking about my fantasy football league. But no, she squints up at me, eyes sharp as tacks, and says, "Meetings, deliveries, visitors, you're running a business out of your home. That's a violation of HOA Policy 14B. I had to bite my tongue not to laugh. Seriously, I did. "Patricia, I'm on video calls, that's all. I work remotely. Not breaking any rules." She gets this little twitch in her lips like she's about to pounce. It is as if it disturbs the peace. Several neighbors reported loud talking. Now I did laugh, just a little. Loud talking? My office is basically a padded cell. I should know. I was the one who signed off on the construction plans for these homes back when this whole place was just a patch of dirt. Still, I played it cool. "I'll double-check the guidelines," I said, keeping my voice steady. She smiled like a cat that just found the cream, scribbled something on her clipboard, and handed me a pink slip, literally like I just lost my job. Watching her strut down my driveway, you'd think she'd just won a Nobel Prize for neighborhood management. Back at my desk, I rejoined the call. Tom from Regional asked if everything was all right. "Just a local issue," I shrugged. "I'll handle it." What Patricia didn't know, what nobody in this neighborhood seemed to know, was that I wasn't just another face on a Zoom call. I was the senior operations exec for Greenrest Developments, the company that built this place and still controlled the HOA's management contracts. Yeah, you heard that right. Patricia had just tried to write up her own boss's boss for having a Zoom call. But here's the thing. I wasn't about to flex my title and squash her like a bug. That's not my style. Sometimes you gotta let people hang themselves with their own rope. And, oh, did Patricia ever start pulling? Next morning, I wake up to a blinding yellow community alert paper taped to my door. "Unauthorized business operation under investigation." Underneath, in fine print, "Report all suspicious deliveries or visitors to HOA compliance immediately." At that point, I actually laughed out loud. Couldn't help it. She wasn't just policing the rules. She was running her own little witch hunt. As I strolled to grab my mail, I could feel eyes peeking out from behind curtains. Neighbors gave me tight little nods. Some pretended not to see me at all. Patricia had been busy on Facebook too, posting about certain homeowners turning their houses into commercial offices and violating our peaceful environment. She didn't name me, but you'd have to be a golden retriever not to connect the dots. So I let it ride. 2 days later, things got weirder. Some kid, barely old enough to rent a car, shows up at my door, wearing a safety vest 3 sizes too big and gripping a clipboard like it's going to bite him. I need to inspect your premises for, zoning violations?" I just stared. You know the HOA doesn't handle zoning, right? That's the city's job. He froze, went red, and I told him to tell Patricia if she wanted to play with real laws, she could call City Hall. As soon as the door shut, I called Frank, the property management liaison. Guy picked up, already laughing. "Wait, Patricia's bothering you? You're literally executive oversight on the contract." "Don't tell her yet," I said, grinning. "Let's see how far she takes it." That afternoon, I hopped on our weekly ops call, same one attended by Patricia's own boss, Mr. Ellison. He's a no-nonsense guy, never misses a beat. So I just mentioned, super casual, "Hey, Ellison, One of your HOA presidents is getting a little enthusiastic. Patricia Hendricks? He groaned. Oh no. What now? She's trying to shut down a home office. Mine. There was a pause, then the softest, slowest. You've got to be kidding me. By the end of that week, the drama had reached fever pitch. Patricia was knocking doors, clipboard in hand, collecting signatures for her Protect the Neighborhood petition. My quiet little street had turned into a soap opera. Neighbors gossiping, whispers everywhere, and poor old Mr. Becker next door, cornered on his lawn by Patricia, who was waving papers like a traffic cop at rush hour. It was honestly kind of impressive. Then came Monday, the big event. Patricia called an emergency community meeting, plastered flyers everywhere. Discussion of unauthorized home businesses. I made sure to show up early, sat right in the front. She spotted me, did a double take, but quickly threw on her customer service smile. Oh, Mr. Lewis, this meeting probably doesn't concern you. I just grinned. I'll take my chances. The room filled up, neighbors curious for a little evening entertainment. Patricia strutted to the podium, cleared her throat, and kicked off with all the drama she could muster. Friends and neighbors, she boomed. One resident has decided that HOA rules don't apply to him. We must stand firm against such disregard for community standards. She went on, listing imaginary violations, phone calls, fake deliveries, even suggesting I had clients parking on the street. I could practically hear the skepticism building in the crowd. After 10 minutes, she snapped her folder shut and delivered her verdict. Therefore, I move that the HOA issue a cease and desist order for all business activity. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. I stood up, kept my voice calm. Before you vote, I'd like to clarify a few things. Patricia folded her arms, all attitude. You've had your chance, Mr. Lewis. I just smiled. Actually, as the senior operations executive for Green Rest Developments, the company that funds and oversees this HOA, I think I get to speak. Her face went sheet white. Heads whipped around. Every eye was on me. I kept it cool. I've listened quietly to your accusations, Patricia. And while I appreciate your passion, it seems you've misunderstood your authority and your employment chain. And that's when Mr. Ellison stepped forward from the back of the room, voice calm, not a hint of anger, just disappointment. That's correct, he said, fixing Patricia with a look that could chill a pot of coffee. I'm here tonight to address this myself. The air just froze. Patricia clung to her clipboard like it was a life raft. Ellison read her the riot act, plain and simple. Patricia, I've received multiple complaints about your conduct. Harassing residents, unauthorized inspections, public postings, and now, targeting one of our executives. That's not how we do things. Not in this community. She started to sputter. I was just enforcing the rules. The community needs discipline. Patricia, he cut her off. This man is your superior. You not only disrespected a homeowner, but the chain of command that employs you. Do you understand what that means? Her face turned the color of a stop sign. Sir, no, he never said. I held up my hand, gentle but firm. You never asked. You just assumed. Ellison nodded, voice soft but final. Leadership is about service, not power trips. You've turned this neighborhood into a battleground over imaginary problems. The crowd finally was on my side. Someone actually started clapping. Patricia looked around, her army of supporters melting away. Ellison sighed. Effective immediately, you're relieved of your position as HOA president. You're also suspended from any Green Rest volunteer work pending review. She opened her mouth, but Ellison shut it with a raised eyebrow. I just did. She stood there, frozen, then gathered her papers, head bowed, and left the room. The door slammed so hard it rattled the windows. Just like that, it was over. I turned to the crowd, shrugged, tried to break the tension. Sorry for the chaos. Remote work's here to stay, but so's respect for neighbors. We can make it work if we act like adults. Somebody in the back yelled, "We're just glad she's gone," and the whole room cracked up. Ellison clapped me on the back, said, "Sorry you had to deal with that, Lewis. She's been over the line for months." I grinned. No harm done. Sometimes, best way to teach humility is let folks trip over their own shoelaces. Next morning, the yellow community alert notice was gone. In its place, an envelope. Inside, a note, Patricia's handwriting, shaky. Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I tucked it away in a drawer. Funny thing about authority. The louder somebody bangs on your door about it, the less they usually have. So, yeah, I logged back onto my next call, unmuted the mic, and just smiled. Good morning, team. Let's get back to business. And if you got a kick out of this circus, hey, drop a comment. What would you have done if Karen showed up at your door? Ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA? Let's hear your stories. Justice, right, wrong, or just a good laugh. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more wild tales from the front lines of suburban drama.